Hello and welcome to the 2024 Formula 4 Saudi Arabia Championship, of course, fueled by Aramco. We're joining us now here at the Qatar Gulf Parade. This is the third event in the championship from the 14th to the 16th of March 2024. As always, my name is Aaron Thompson, and very shortly I'll be joined by Luca Felipe as well, our amazing co-commentator here in Formula 4 Saudi Arabia. But in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be getting underway for qualifying. On the schedule it says 10 o'clock, so we have just a few minutes to go until the first official session of the weekend. You can see the cars there all in the pit lane, lined up and ready to go. Of course, up on the balcony, up on top, the parents looking on for the youngsters, urging them on, surging them forwards as everybody prepares themselves in the pit lane. The strategy here, or the schedule here, ladies and gentlemen, is that 7 minutes before the start of the session, the drivers must be in the cars, and another 8 minutes before that, the cars must all be lined up in front of the pit lane. That to ensure that the drivers have a chance to get into the cars and make sure everything's okay before they go out on track, and we can give them as much track time as possible. We have a look here at the track. As you can see, it's a night race, ladies and gentlemen, and it is a beautiful night race here at the absolutely fantastic Qatar International Circuit, the Lusail International Circuit. I should say it really is a beautiful facility. We've been at a few amazing racetracks already this season. Of course, there's the Bahrain International Circuit, which kicked things off with the trophy event in December. That was December 14, 15, 16, if I'm not mistaken, of just last year. And then we moved on to Kuwait in of course, Motor Town, and it was absolutely fantastic there as well. I thought it couldn't get any better, ladies and gentlemen, but they may have just done that in Qatar here for this, the third event of the championship. And we'll have another 4 races for you this weekend. But before that, let's have a quick look at the circuit. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the Lusail International Circuit, freshly rebuilt just a few years ago for the Formula 1. Corner 1, 2 and 3, a beautiful section in the opening sector of the track as you come around for the 4th and 5th corners of the circuit, and the gradient change down into the second half of the circuit, corners 8, 9, 10 and 11, a beautiful section sweeping through the course as we've seen already in free practice and testing just a few days ago. Coming around the penultimate corner, corners 15, and then the ultimate corner, corner 16, before you back down the main straight, a 5.4 kilometer long circuit here at the Lusail International Circuit, of course, in Qatar. And as you can see, the races here from 14th to 16th March, just again the third event in the championship. And now down into the pit lane, and I believe everybody's just about ready to get going. That's Oscar Wirtz there in the number 11 car. Oscar driving for Austria. That's his mechanic fastening him into the car just now. That is Edwin. He's a number 1 mechanic, who has been with us for several years already. You can see it's a bit of a procedure to get strapped into the cars, ladies and gentlemen. The steering wheel isn't even in the car when you get in, because you can't get in with, well, I suppose it depends on how frequently you hit the gym, but you can't get into these cars without taking off the steering wheel and then getting belted in. It's a 6-point harness, and that basically makes you part of the chassis, and that's the safety concept. There's no airbags or anything like that. You're bolted into the chassis. There's a hands device around your head and neck and shoulders that connects your helmet to your shoulders so that you can't get whiplash, and then you're bolted into the chassis, and you become part of the car. And then it's the crash structures. The front nose, you can see, goes quite far down. If you see just the tip of the nose, that's the crash structure on the front there. And of course on the rear of the car, you'll see just behind the number 52 there of the car, you'll see the crash structure at the rear. So these impact structures crumple if there's any accident, and that dampens the force on the driver's body. And in fact, the engine and gearbox are designed so that in a significant crash, the bolts securing them to the chassis break away, so the car can become 2 pieces, and the momentum is divided amongst them in order to arrest the momentum and protect the driver. And you can see at the front of the grid once again the red number 49 of Andrei Petrovic. Andrei doing a fantastic job a few weeks ago in Kuwait for the opening 2 official events in the championship, and he, I believe, at the moment is standing at the top of the championship standings, having his consistency to thank for putting him there. He's on the podium every race, ladies and gentlemen. He may not have gotten up onto the top step as frequently as he has hoped to, but he's up on the second and third stops every single race, and he's just an unstoppable force to deal with. And you can see the orange number 52 of Solomon Zanfari. Solomon had actually been leading the championship at the end of the first event, and coming into the second event, he was overtaken from Andre because he had a crash in the last race of the second event, I believe. Not so much a crash, but he spun off, I believe, at corner corner 2, trying to make a move on. It may have been one of the Kabasi sisters, and unfortunately that really hurt his chances in the championship. But he's had a chance to go away now and calm down and rethink things, and I'm sure we spoke to him at the end of the last race, and he said, got to really knuckle down and make sure every race I'm on the podium, there can't be any mistakes, this kind of thing. And that's exactly the right state of mind to be in. And of course he has his Brazilian physiotherapist, and he has actually an ex-driver of ours, Hadrian David, helping him as well, all making sure that he's on the right track. But that's enough about the orange number 52. Let's have a quick word about his competition, Federico Al-Rafai, and of course Oscar Wirtz in the white cars, number 11 and number 10, or a correction yes, that is correct, number 11 and number 10. Oscar Wirtz had a fantastic outing in Bahrain, was up on the top step of the first race in the trophy event, and had a really good weekend, came away as the weekend champion, I believe. Unfortunately, not such a good time for Oscar in Kuwait. He had several crashes and minor instances that put him down the order, but now he's again, same as Solomon, he's had a chance to go away, he's had a chance to come back, and he's on the pace in free practice and testing, and I hope indeed that for all of our sakes, that everybody up at the front of the grid is pushing as high as they can, and they all are within a few tenths of a second, as they have been so far. And indeed, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta say, it's been some fantastic racing so far this season. The top even I would say the top 10 drivers are just within a couple of tenths of each other. It's absolutely fantastic to see, and it's fantastic to see a lot of the Arabian drivers like Omar Al-Walid Al-Durrani and Sagar Al-Mashers from Kuwait really battling it out at the top of the pack, because of course it's a very competitive championship. We have Kirill Kutskov in the light blue number 23 car driving this weekend. I mean, he's the CIK world champion from last year, I believe, and he's fighting up, and the local drivers are fighting up at the front of the grid with him. And of course we have Andrei Petrovic, who we spoke about earlier as well. He's the Rotax world champion as well, if I'm not mistaken, and it's the same thing. Everybody's really tight at the top of the grid. I mean, the distance between Andrei Petrovic and Kirill Kotskov and Solomon Zanfari from Morocco, and Sagar from Kuwait, and Omar from Saudi, and Faisal Al-Kabani from Saudi as well. I mean, they're really all up there all together, fighting for the lead of every race in the championship. You can see Solomon now in the orange number 52 trying to weave and warm up his tyres. Since Luca Filippi is not here, I can't talk too much about tyres because, I don't know exactly what I'm talking about. But the word from on top is that the strategy here is to start the weaving to get the outside of the tyres warmed up, and then you also have to focus on the longitudinal force on the tyre as well to get the core of the tyre warmed up at the beginning of the lap. And of course now it seems that they're moving on to the second stage of that warm-up process, and hopefully in just a few minutes we'll start to see some flying laps. This is qualifying, of course. We've got 30 minutes here for the drivers all to see where they're going to start in the first race, or indeed every race of this weekend. The regulations here for the starting grids are, we try to make them as simple as possible, but unfortunately with reverse grids and all that kind of thing and multiple races, it always does end up getting a little bit more complicated, but we try to keep it as simple as possible. In the first race, it's your fastest times from qualifying. In the second race, it's your second fastest times from qualifying, reversed. And in the third race, it's the third fastest times from qualifying reversed. And in the fourth race, it's the fourth fastest times from qualifying, but a standard grid, not a reverse grid. So it really does keep things very interesting as well, because you've got half points for races 2 and 3. So that really forces everybody to put in 4 fast laps equally in qualifying, because your first fastest and your fourth fastest lap need to be as fast as possible to secure as high a starting position as is within your abilities for races 1 and races 4, which is the full point races, and then races 2 and races 3 you'll end up having to have fast laps as well, because that's what's necessary in order to get you onto the to the front of the grid in the full points races. A beautiful track here, ladies and gentlemen. I just can't say that enough. I mean, you really need to be here to appreciate it fully, but it is an absolutely fantastic facility. 16 corner track, 5.4 kilometers, absolutely beautiful. About 30 minutes from from the airport, from downtown Qatar, and it's a spectacular experience being here. We've already got MotoGP just a few weeks ago. WEC was here a few weeks ago as well. F1, as you know, everyone is coming as well, and really it's a brilliant experience, and I'm thrilled to see Formula 4 here now as well. And we need to keep this up, keep this momentum up. We should have Formula 4, Formula 3, Formula 2, all the junior categories should be here. Of course, I'm sure Formula 2 has already been here with Formula 1, but we need more local and national motorsport championships visiting the circuit to help the national drivers, or at least the regional drivers, to establish a base of motorsport here in the region with local talents. And of course, that's exactly what we're trying to do here in Aramco Formula 4 Saudi. That's exactly the purpose of our existence. Has been since the day I was born, a long time ago now, ladies and gentlemen. We train young racing drivers, but not just young racing drivers, also young mechanics and engineers. So anybody out there who's listening and wants to see what's under the hood, you're more than welcome to come on down, and I hope you give us a call, and I hope one day I see you walking down the paddock carrying a set of tires or a laptop to download the car, and hopefully everything goes well, and we can be on the podium together one day. But let's have a look at the results now, or the time screen I should say. At the front of the grid we've got Hamda and Amna Al-Khabaisi. They've set the best laps so far. They're still in the 2:05 though, so that probably means they're still just warming up. The pace in free practice is about 2 minutes, maybe a little bit under, maybe get down to 1:98 or something around that kind of territory for at the end of qualifying. Of course, you can see there's going to be a few different strategies here. The drivers have one set of new tires and one set of used tires to do free practice, qualifying, and all 4 races. So you may see a few different strategies. You may see drivers going onto 2 sets in qualifying to get 2 push laps, or you may see them trying to hold on, trying to keep some life in their tires for the last race. Of course, all of this is being discussed with their driver engineers and the driver coaches. Of course, the driver coach Luca Felipe, Marcello Puglisi, Luca Allen, Luke Thompson, all these fantastic driver coaches here this weekend. The driver engineers as well. I mean, there's a wealth of knowledge. You have F1 engineers like Steve Clark. You've got fantastic chief engineer Andrew Davis, who has a lot of experience at LMP2 and every other level of the sport. And really, it's a fantastic team that makes sure everybody's on the top of their game. And the whole point of it is to try and bring everybody up along with us and make a fantastic motorsport ecosystem here in the Arabian region. But back to the timing screens now, ladies and gentlemen. Oscar Wirtz just caught my attention with a 1:58.810 before. Hamda Al-Khabaisi in the purple number 8 car driving for the United Arab Emirates did a 1:58.789 and then went fastest on track in sector 1 with a 43.127. The next fastest first sector is almost 3/10 of a second behind her, or 1/10 of a second behind her. That would be Aurelia Noble. So Aurelia, new driver here this weekend. She's driving the green number 22 car for Brazil. She's had a good start in testing yesterday. A little bit of an issue with her car in free practice. It turned out the wiring loom near to the fire extinguisher pull seemed to have been rubbing a little bit, but the mechanics were right out on top of that within 15-20 minutes. They'd found the issue, fixed the issue, and all the other cars have been checked as well before I managed to get down there and ask what had happened. And you can see she's back out on track now, and 1:58 is absolutely fantastic time. She hasn't set the 1:58 yet, but her first sector time being just 1/10 of a second behind Hamda Al-Khabaisi is a fantastic start to qualifying for her, because we've seen the Khabasi sisters, both of them in fact, really are a force to be reckoned with here in Formula 4 Saudi Arabia, of course fueled by Aramco. As we come down now, down the main straight now, we've got Sullivan Zanfari just going off the bottom of your screens in the orange number 52 car, the white number 11 car of Oscar Wirtz just coming through as well, as Hamda Al-Khabaisi crosses the line once again, goes fastest in sectors 1, 2 and 3, and sets a 1:58 dead. Ladies and gentlemen, we may be looking at a 1:57 here in qualifying, and hopefully even into a 1:56. That would be a sight to behold. As we come around now, we've got another 20 minutes remaining on the clock. Federico Al-Rafai is in second position, just 0.05 of a second behind Hamda Al-Khabaisi, and they are followed by Oscar Wirtz, 0.6 of a second back. He obviously hasn't gotten down to putting in his final push lap just yet, and Solomon Zanfari and Amda Al-Kabesi and a lot of other drivers as well still yet to set their best lap times, and with 20 minutes on the board there's another 10 laps potentially to go, the drivers all having done 3 or 4 laps already. As we come around now with Federico Al-Rafai driving for the UAE in the white number 10 car, his current time is a 1:58.135, hundredths of a second off of Hamda Al-Kabesi, who is still on pole position. Federico just set his personal best first sector, which is 43.189, which, if I remember correctly, is about the same kind of time Hamda Al-Kabesi did. So he may be looking at an opportunity here to try and get himself up into pole position. I'm sure that's exactly what's on his mind. But let's have a look further down the grid. We've got Andrei Petrovic in the red number 49 car. Seems to be playing a little bit of a strategy here. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, I said earlier you've got one set of news and one set of use to do the whole race weekend, and our races are shorter than Formula 1, so it may not seem like it's that much distance, but really it really adds up. After 4 races, free practice and qualifying, you're looking at 3 hours of track time. This is more than F1 does on 2 or 3 sets of tires, and we're giving these young drivers one set of use and one set of news, because the whole purpose here is to try to train everybody up. So you have to learn how to conserve your tires. That's the name of the game, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen. You have to know how to keep the car running at an optimum speed, as well as be able to put in that one lap, that one super special lap that wins the race at the last possible second. As Federico Al-Rafai in the number 10 car, as I said, he set his personal best in sector 1, personal best in sector 2, and in sector 3 he blitzed the lap time, and it is down into 157s, a high 157, a 157.878, ladies and gentlemen, but a 157 nonetheless, and that's absolutely fantastic driving there from the United Arab Emirates driver. And I'm sure everybody's looking at the timing screens and are going to be pushing hard to get up in front of him. Hamda Al-Kabesi in second position now, had set the best first sector on the last lap. She is just outdone by Aurelia Nobles with a 43.068, which is about a tenth of a second faster than anybody else has gone in the first sector so far. Hamda Al-Kabesi had set personal bests in sectors 1, 2 and 3 in the last lap, but Federico Al-Rafai managed to outdo her by just a couple of tenths of second, and he's now doing another personal best in sector 1 once again. Sector 2 going to be coming into any second now, so we'll see where he's heading, but Aurelia Nobles is on a flying lap. That's her on screen now, ladies and gentlemen, in the green number 22 car. She is from Belgium, although she has a Brazilian license, so she's going to be coming around a little bit of a slow second sector, though, unfortunately not her personal best, 38.839, so maybe she won't be able to get up into pole position just yet on this lap, but with that amazing first sector, she's definitely destined for great things here. Of course, we know she already has a lot of experience in Formula for Italy, and of course she's in F1 Academy as well, so she's a fantastic young driver, and we're going to see her on the top step of the podium very soon, I'm sure indeed, as we come around now with another 17 minutes left on the clock. That's another 8 or so laps, ladies and gentlemen. Federico Al-Rafai just sets the personal best in sector 1 and the best overall in sector 3, and goes a little bit faster, I believe, with a 157.844, as Aurelia Nobles jumps up into second place with the overall best in sector 1 of a 43.068. That's a tenth of a second faster than anyone else on track, and then a personal best in sector 3, which was enough to get her up into second position, and she's on a 158, almost dead 158, and she's just under 2/10 of a second behind Federico, and you can really see that everybody's going to have to get down into the 157s, the mid 157s, if they're going to have a chance of putting it on pole position. We can see Hamda Al-Kabesi is in the pit lane alongside Amda Al-Kabesi, obviously having a bit of a strategy discussion with the engineers and driver coaches, maybe going in to change tires. As we mentioned earlier on, they might all be going on to new tires at the end of this session to really push and see how far they can push things up. The timing screens on screen now, the blue number 23 of Kirill Kutskov. Kirill, of course, driving around the circuit as fast as he possibly can. He's not exactly where he wants to be just yet. He's in 5th position with a 158.881, but I'm sure he's got everything worked out and he's going to be pushing as hard as he can to get up onto the top step. Let's have a look for Andrej Petrovic. Andrej Petrovic is currently in P13. He's just as we say that, though, ladies and gentlemen, he set the best overall in Sector 1 with a 43.032, which is about 0.03 of a second faster than Aurelian Nobles in second position at the moment. We'll be keeping a keen eye on the time screen to what happens as he goes through the second sector. You can see him on track now. That's him in the red number 49 car driving for Serbia as he comes around the second sector of the circuit, and in just a moment we'll see exactly what's going to happen with him, as we have got a lot of personal bests on track at the moment here. And indeed Andrej Petrovic was a personal best in Sector 2 at 38.954, so I think a lot of drivers may have been going around on their used tires, using up some of their used tires to get a little bit more experience before they really change onto their new tires and do a big push, because Andrej is just about to set something special, I think, and jump up into the top 3 as he comes down now what appears to be the ultimate corner of the circuit. He'll be crossing the start finish line in just a moment as Oscar Wertz goes personal best and pulls himself up into 4th position. Andrej Petrovic, ladies and gentlemen, fastest overall in Sector 1, personal best in Sector 2 and Sector 3. There's a 1:57.736, 1/10 of a second ahead of Federico Al-Rafai, and changes everything here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as the Serbian is now on pole position as he comes around to do his cool down lap before he starts to push once again. Let's have a look further down the order. Laura Villas has just done a personal best first and second sectors. Jean Chaubrobrio likewise, while Omar Alderain, ladies and gentlemen, has just set his personal best first sector and may be looking to do something special here, ladies and gentlemen, because we saw him pushing really hard in testing and free practice, and well, I don't want to spoil anything, ladies and gentlemen, but I think Omar Alderain might have something special in store for us here this weekend. Andrej Petrovic has stayed out on track and is pushing once again. He's just done a 42.933. That's not a personal best. That's an overall best for the first sector so far here in qualifying. And you can see on screen at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, that's Federico Al-Rafai, the white number 11 car, the UAE driver, stopping to change his tires. You can see them going on now. You can tell they're new tires because you can still see the markings on the top of the tires. The white numbers there indicate that it hasn't been on track just yet. Back to the action though. This is Omar Alderain in the yellow number 18 car driving for Saudi Arabia. Omar Alderain has just as we said, set a personal best first sector, done a personal best second sector, and has now done a personal best third sector to put himself into 9th position. His personal best first sector was a little bit off the pace, about a second off the pace, so he's probably still just warming up and is going to start pushing now really hard on it seems like he started pushing really hard in the second and third sectors. The third sector is about 3 or 4 tenths off of the lead, so he's really going to start pushing up now. And Sagar Al-Mashers as well is really starting to push up. He's in 8th position after setting a personal best first, second and third laps. And of course at the front of the grid, Andrej Petrovic has improved himself by going best in sectors 1 and sector 2 with a 42.933, a 38.769 and a 35.772 in sector 3. That sector 3 time, ladies and gentlemen, isn't even his personal best time, so there is more time to be found on track, and he's already in a 1:57.474. We've broken the halfway mark, and there's still time to be found here, ladies and gentlemen, as we're on screen now with the Kabesi sisters in the purple car, team purple. This is number 8. This is Hamda Al-Kabesi, who is currently in 4th position, about 0.6 of a second off the leader with a 1:58.082. As I say that, she has just bettered herself, and sorry, no, that's not Hamda Al-Kabesi, that's Kirill Kutskov, has just jumped up into 3rd position with a 1:57.951, the third person into the 1:57 mark. He went personal best in sectors 1, 2 and 3, so now Federico Al-Rafai is under pressure, and I'm sure Solomon Zanfari is looking at that as well, and indeed he is, ladies and gentlemen, because he's just gone personal best in sector 1, fastest overall in sector 2, and is now pushing his way to the start finish line as we're on screen now with Hamda Al-Kabesi. Once again, Hamda, as we said, was doing a personal best in sectors 1, 2 and 3. I believe she's going around once again now. She's about 0.6 off of the leader, and she's still in a good position. You know, his 5th position is fantastic showing, 0.6 off the leader, and well, what can I say? She looks like she's going to try and get herself up there into third position. And ladies and gentlemen, I got good news for you. Luca Filippi has finally joined me, so we can talk about tires.
Yeah, so definitely is interesting because we have seen two different strategies from the drivers. So some of the drivers are now finished the warm-up or the second set of new tires. So basically is the Alcubaiz for sure, and I guess Zanfari also did. And then they can have a second attempt. I see now that also Arifai and Wurz are going out of the pit, so I presume they also are on the same strategy. So they basically just went out on the first set, push, set a couple of laps time, and find the rhythm, and then pit, change to the second set, and try and do it again. So Zafari definitely improved himself quite a lot.
Yeah, he did. He's up into P2 now with a 1:57.835, just 0.3 of a second off the leader, and has done another personal best in the Sector 1.
Yeah, so definitely found the pace this weekend, while Petrovic and Aurelia Nobles for sure, and I guess Kirill Kutskov, they are still on the first set of tire, and I don't think they will go for the second one. So basically they are saving a full new set for the races.
Well, we have seen a lot of degradation here, Luca, especially I believe the front lefts are suffering a bit here at this track, so maybe that's the way to go to save your tires for the races.
Yeah, so it's one of those circuits that they are anti-clockwise, so again it's let me say a little bit unconventional for our motorsport, I would say. And so definitely we have so many high-speed corners that they are turning to the right. So the outside tire, so the front left, is really under a lot of forces for a lot of seconds during the lap. Definitely driving wisely and not over pushing on those tires. It will be important for the course of the weekend.
So what is Federico Alrafai thinking now? I saw him in the pit lane earlier changing onto his new set. He's already in the 157s. He was the first into the 157s, and unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Qatari local here, Jabbar Al Thani, has been beached into the gravel trap. I can't make out which corner this is, but we will probably have to red flag to recover him. What does that mean for qualifying? Is that it over, or will we get to get running again?
You know,
7 minutes left on the clock.
This is a very good question. Very good question. First of all, Jabbar Al-Thani is in the gravel. At least it looks like there is no damage to the car, and it's fine. And he's doing an amazing job because he's been improving himself so much. He's been in basically under the 2-minute one, and he's done an amazing job. And he was also improving himself in the third sector. So I would say that he was really pushing as hard as possible. And, sometimes it can happen, especially at high speed, if you lose the grip of the car, definitely you... can you overtake in the red flag? I guess no. Anyways.
Well, you definitely can. It just may not end up so well.
But now it's green again.
Are we under red flag, though?
Is green again? No, it's not. It's not red flag. Yeah, like you say.
I don't see a red flag. No, I do see that the car is stopped on the timing screens.
So you assume.
I don't see a red flag.
No. Yeah, sorry. This is Juancho.
This is Juancho as well on the. Is that the exit of turn 1? I believe that's just in front of turn 1. Yes. So yes, it is. You can see him just in front of the pit lane there. So that car is definitely going to be.
Good job, Aaron. Yes, you well spotted. So this is definitely hurting the lap times of who's starting to push, and with Jabbar stopped on track. If there is a local yellow, it will be difficult for the drivers to improve their lap time. So let's see what happens if they have to keep the yellow on track, or if we can go green all around the course.
Well, on the last lap, you could see that Andrei Petrovic did a 42.793. That's the best overall in Sector 1. In Sector 2 in sector 3, he's not even doing personal best, so perhaps that is an indication of him slowing down in those sectors. Let's have a look at the tracking map, see if that's working. It seems to not be working, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully in a minute we'll get information from race control on where the car is, but not to worry, I'm sure they're taking the necessary precautions, and you can see that everything is continuing as planned with the white number 10 car, Federico Alrafai, coming around. Which corner is that, Luca?
So Federico was exiting turn 5, so 4 and 5, they are 2 corners, very fast 4-gear corner where you are basically doing 2 apexes in the 2 corner, but actually, yeah, here it is.
Like now. So does that stop the clock, or are we going to end the session? Because if we end the session, that's good news for Andrej Petrovic, because he's on pole position.
So definitely, and Amda was able to go to P2. So
no, it's Hamda, not Amda.
Yes, Amda. Sorry. You know what?
A fantastic time. Look at that. She did a 1:57.513. She's not even a tenth of a second behind pole position. That's absolutely brilliant.
So definitely, she made the second set of tire working. This yellow and then red definitely hurt the people that wanted to try the double set of tire, and with 4 minutes on the clock, because it should stop the time now is running, but from race control they know how to reset it.
Yes, message from race control here, they're aware of that and they're going to reset the clock.
Yeah, so this is conventional. They absolutely know exactly when the flag went out, and is correct decision, as we can see. So it will be more or less, let's say, 4.5 minutes, and that is enough for sure.
An out
to
lap
fly.
And 1 push lap.
Yeah, 1 push, but then
maybe a second.
Yeah, because you pass.
So now the question is, who can get to the end of the pit lane first to cross the finish line as soon as possible and get 2 push laps?
Yeah, but only who feels that has some life left in the tire. So let's see. You know, if you are on the first set and you don't wanna just kill your tire, then you may just sit, because the chances of improving yourself are, can be little. You can also have a second yellow with people going out and pushing. So I would say that they will try people that went out on their second set, but they couldn't improve as they should have. So they still have some life left in those tires, so that can definitely try.
Well, it really is unfortunate for Jabba, because as you said, he's been pushing hard and he's really improving. He's a local Qatari native, and he did good in Kuwait. He's done fantastic in Bahrain, some 3-season testing in Sepang. He's getting all of his experience up. This is his first season. He's a rookie, but he's doing a good job. You can see he was on his personal best for sector 1 with a 43, which is exactly where he should be at this stage in his career. And really, he was pushing hard, and then just he must have lost it on the exit there. And it's a normal thing that happens. It's a learning experience, but it is unfortunate for him this weekend. But hopefully he's going to be at the front of the grid, or towards the front of the grid in races 2 and 3. Unfortunately, of course, because he's stopped now and he's been recovered by the marshals, you can't. The regulation is that once the car has been touched by the marshals, you can't resume the session. You can only resume the session under your own power. So if you spin and get stuck or something, if you manage to get the car going yourself without undoing your seatbelts, you can continue. But if the marshals have to recover you, unfortunately, that's the end of your sessions. This is the end of the session for Jabor, ladies and gentlemen, but it's not the end of the race weekend, and he'll be back thrilling us with some fantastic action in the first race and in the second and third race as well. Very, very soon. And you can see that, Luca, all of the young drivers, or at least several of them, are aware that they could just manage to do 2 push laps if they get out as soon as possible. So they're all down at the end of the pit lane, getting ready to do exactly that as soon as the flag goes green, and it has done just that just now. And Federico Alrafai in the white number 10 car, driving for the UAE, of course an Italian driver, but with a UAE license, is just coming us bringing us onto track ahead of several other cars in the procession. Are they going to have time to warm up the tires? What do they have to do here? Because they're just it wasn't a very long red flag. Are they going to have to do a lot of weaving and ducking and diving, or can they go straight to it?
So if they want to do 2 laps, they have to push straight away, and yeah, I mean, they cannot lose so much time, otherwise some of them could only have a single flying lap, and a single flying lap, it could be good for your tires, but maybe it's not good. It's not enough for yourself to get back into the rhythm, because when you have a circuit with so many high-speed corners, it takes 1 lap or 2 to get back into the rhythm of carrying the speed you need and so on.
Well, the other thing as well is worrying about trying to get across the start-finish line twice. So do you sacrifice some warm-up time to try and do a faster out lap and get in your 2 push laps?
This is what I guess I would try and do, just have the chance to do 2 laps, because it gives me, better opportunity to improve myself. In a single lap, you can make a mistake, you can find traffic, whatever. So yeah, definitely. Well, let's see if they can. Some of them will. Not so sure that everybody will. It's incredible that we have 9 drivers in 1 second, and over a 2-minute lap, I would say is really good, but it could have been. It could have been. I would say at least 11. If I'm sure that both Amna and Faisal Al-Kabani, they quite didn't do what they were
planning on doing.
Planning, and what it was their potential. Because I know them, and I'm sure that something didn't quite went as planned. But it's really tight. For example, also Oscar, it was the quickest guy in practice, and now with only 7/10 off, is P7. So it means like really
big spin there for the 49 of Andrei Petrovic at is that the exit of turn 1 once again?
Oh,
it may be. That's a little bit of a dangerous position, and he's waving to the marshals. It looks like he needs assistance and he needs to be recovered. Hopefully he can get going again. We could see the rain lights were on, but he has now turned them off. He is definitely signaling that he needs help. He can't get restarted.
Yeah, so still it was a really good session and a good week for Andrei.
What does this mean now? Because it's not red yet, it's going to go yellow, but anybody who was in front of him, which is Federico Al-Rafai, ladies and gentlemen, can still complete this lap and push as hard as possible, so he may be able to get a front of Andrei Petrovic, and it looks like Hamda Al-Kabaisi is doing the same thing as well. Hamda has just set the best overall first sector with a 42.789, just under 2/10 of a second faster than Federico Al-Rafai, who set his personal best first sector and has just gone on to set the best overall second sector.
And Wurtz
beats him to it with a 38.489, ladies and gentlemen. So this session is not over yet, and it's just been red flagged. That's so unfortunate. They're all going to have to come to a stop, but it is definitely the right decision. That car parked on the exit of T1 is in a very compromised position, but of course these young drivers did everything they could to try and get the lap times in there, but fortunately for Andrei Petrovic, it's a red flag again, and with only 41 seconds left on the board, there's not much that could be done, even if we did get going again. So that will be the end of the session and the end of qualifying, and it's Andrei Petrovic in pole position. I believe that's his first pole position.
Wow, I mean, it could have changed everything, because we had Oscar in an amazing lap, and Amna improving, and Amda on a fantastic first sector.
Federico Al-Rafai as well, personal best all the way.
Wow, it could have changed a lot in the top, because definitely those guys with a second set of tires, they weren't yet in the right window right before the first red flag, but then they managed to get into the window right before the second red flag, and definitely that has hurt their qualifying, but definitely very interesting. And
Luca Felipe, this may change things again. It looks like there's a message from race control that as we stopped with less than 2 minutes on the board, we'll be starting again with 3 minutes on the board. So Andrej Petrovic isn't going to get another push lap, but the rest of the field will, and that will affect things. Of course, his 1:57.474 is a fantastic time, but Hamza Al-Khabaisi just went best overall in the first sector. Solomon Zanfari just went best overall in the third sector, and Oscar Wertz just went best overall in the second sector. So this is going to make things very, very, very interesting for the first race.
So first of all, I really appreciate the thinking behind this decision of race control. That is a sensible decision in allowing people that have the faith in themselves and that they can improve to give it a shot, which I feel is something that is a flexibility that we don't find in many championships, and this is really positive because at least gives everybody a chance to make sure that they don't leave any stone unturned. What you say, and it's not ideal to have more than, we call it, heat cycle on the tire. Heat cycle is when basically the tire is cold and you warm it up, and then you push on it, and then it gets to the target temperature, but then eventually you slow down and you stop, and the tire gets colder. But then by pushing on top of it, then it gets warm again, and every cycle is called heat cycle, and the more you have those, and the more it basically changes the characteristic of the grip of the tire, and definitely you lose a little bit of peak of performance. We're talking about little things, but
but it's all those little things that add up, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it is not ideal also because they're waiting at the end of the pits and the car has to be recovered. And for sure, the towing truck used to be on the other side of the circuit to recover a Jabor, and maybe was taking Jabor's car back to the pits.
Jabor's car was in the gravel.
Yeah.
Andre's on the runoff. So with any luck, they might be able to just tow him out with the 4x4.
Which we see now.
Yes, indeed. Just passing in front of the
You can see future. Yeah, definitely. And it's 3 minutes 41. So 3 minutes 41, you cross the line.
You get one lap. One push lap.
You get one push lap, yeah.
And that could change everything. We've seen Hamza Al-Khabaisi fastest in the first sector, and we've seen Oscar Wertz fastest in the second sector, but he stole that fastest second sector from Solomon Zanfari, or Federico Alrafai it was. So it's going to be tight at the top. It's going to be tight at the top, and you can see Andrej Petrovic is okay, ladies and gentlemen. He's out of the car, helping the marshals put the steering wheel back into position. That is the driver's responsibility, because the marshals may not be familiar with that particular part of the machine. You can see them looping around the roll hoop now. That is actually a safety structure. That piece of that black part of the car where the purple rope is going around, that protrudes above the driver's head, and the idea here is that should the car for any reason flip over, it will be this black metal roll hoop that hits the ground, not the driver's head. And then there's actually a device, a jig, that ensures that the driver's head is underneath the geometry, so that no matter what happens, he can't come into contact with the ground, because he's protected by the roll hoop and of course the front of the chassis. And we can see, ladies and gentlemen, that they are working away at turn 1, and meantime everybody is in the pit lane getting ready to go again. Interestingly, Luca, we had 9 cars back out on track in the reservation at the previous red flag, but Kirill Kutskov didn't head back out. Aurelian Olmos didn't head back out, and they're both, they're in positions 5 and 6. They're excellent time. They're within both within 0.5 of a second of the leader, and they could really stand a chance to get back up on the top spot. Do you think they were just trying to save tires?
Yes, because they were both on the strategy of the single set. So when you have 4 or 5 minutes, maybe 5, yeah, but when you have 4 minutes or 3 like now, you don't have enough to warm up a brand new set. But maybe they are not sure that out of the first set that now is quite used, they can still extract some potential. If they could, it was more down to drivers' improvement in just driving better. But if you know that you drove your best and you didn't do a particular mistake, maybe you know that with the tires losing performance, then you don't have a chance in improving yourself. They would have done it if they knew that in their lap they had like a big mistake or traffic or anything. But it's that time frame that doesn't give you the opportunity to warm up enough the tire to improve your lap if the tire is brand new. While the people that were already on the second set, they already started a warm-up, so for them the 4 minutes were more than enough to get into the target within only one warm-up.
Well, let's talk about Omar Al-Walid Al-Durrani here in the yellow number 18 car, of course, driving for Saudi Arabia. Omar joined us back in Sepang for some fantastic test sessions the middle of last year. He went very well, built up his confidence, got some experience, and he joined the championship. He was here for the trophy event, he was here for the pre-season testing. He did well in Kuwait. His goal in Kuwait was to get onto the top step of the podium, and he almost did it. He was just beaten out by Sagar Al-Mashers, but it was a fantastic battle in that the third race of, I believe, the second event, and I'm sure now this weekend he's coming back with the idea that I'm going to win race 2 or race 3, and then I'm going to capture that momentum. I'm going to go on and win the first race in Saudi, my home race. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Omar is really talented and really spectacular also to see him driving and to see him racing. He's a racer, he's a fighter, and he told me that maybe he doesn't feel that this is the circuit that suits perfectly his driving style, but I actually told him, I don't believe you, because actually I've seen you driving and he's driving well. I was even expecting more in terms of positioning, but in terms of gap, you know, it's not far. It's 0.8 of a second off pole position, but it's also true that he's also on a single set, so I believe that he could have improved, let's say, if he decided to go for a second one, because
well, talking about going for a second one, we've got the second red flag resumption in just a few moments, and we can see that there are several cars, namely Jean-Charles Brobio, Kirill Kutskov, Aurelia Nobles, Abdulaziz Abu Zanada, and Laura Villas, who are choosing not to go out again. So that might be a wise strategy here, Luca, because you've got to save tires. Now, as we said, we've seen the degradation is significant here at this track, and races 3 and 4 is all going to be about who's managed to keep a good set ready to go.
You know, it's one of those things that it's really hard. Like, while you are there in the car, you really think that you can improve yourself. You want to have a better qualifying, a better starting position, and so if only a few tenths of a second, like in a tight field like we have now, that can improve 3-4 positions, then it's worth it. Just having a little bit more mileage on the tire. For sure, that is not worth it if you go out and improve nothing, or you just match the lap time you made before. So it's a bit of a risk, but it can be very rewarding if you can make a significant step. Then it's worth it, definitely, because track position is still important. It's crucial.
So let's have a look here at the qualifying positions so far just before the red flag, the second red flag, I should say. We have Andrei Petrovic in the red number 49 car on a 157.474. Just behind him, Hamda Al-Kubaisi, just under 300 or 400ths of a second separate pole position and second position, and 2/10 back is Suleiman Zanfari in the orange number 52 car. They are followed, of course, by Federico Al-Rafai with a 157.844, just ahead of Kirill Kutskov with a 157.951. That is your top 5, ladies and gentlemen, and bringing out the top 10 positions. You have Aurelia Nobles, Oscar Wirtz, Sagar Al-Mashouj, Omar Al-Walid Al-Durrani, and I believe in 10th position is Amna Al-Kabaisi. Of course, she's going to be fighting with her sister. They're teammates in Team Purple this weekend, but on track we'll have a lot of action, I believe, as Faisal Al-Kabani, Laura Villas, Jabir Al-Thani, Abdulaziz Abu Zanada and Joncho Barrio round out the rest of the grid. 15 cars here this weekend, as unfortunately Abdullah Al-Kabaisi wasn't able to join us, but it's going to be a spectacular event here, ladies and gentlemen, and it seems like we're starting to get underway. The marshals are asking the mechanics to move away from the cars at the end of the pit lane. That's always a good sign, as it indicates that we're about to start going in just a moment. You can see on the right hand side of your screens that the red light is still on, but it has just gone green. I can see from the commentator's booth, and ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Kirill Kutskov is back in his car and underway once again. I can see a light blue car just leaving the pit lane, so it will be very, very interesting indeed to see what happens here in the final lap of qualifying. Is there going to be a lot of warm-up? What's the correct procedure here, Luca? They've been stationary for a significant amount of time now, and as you mentioned, 2 heat cycles on the cars, on the tires I should say, and what do they need to do to get into the right window and get going? Or is it just Sagar? Was it not Kirill?
Yeah.
Well, that's thank you for pointing that out. I put my foot in my mouth. It looks like it's Sagar Al-Mashouj, his teammate in the light blue number 5 car, who's back out on track, and Kirill may still be in the pit lane. As we come around now, we can see the purple car of the number 88, that is Amna Al-Kabaisi, leading us down the track with Faisal Al-Kabani, the silver bullet, in the number 7 car just behind her. Amna having a good showing this weekend. She's been on the pace in free practice and testing, and now she's got to find the time and get up into P1 and P2 and P3 alongside her sister. She's just a little bit back, but she's got really a great chance now because she's at the front of the grid. She's going to have a clean lap, and really this is an excellent opportunity for her. Before the red flag, she had done a pretty good for the second sector, and hopefully she'll be able to get going and set a personal best in the first sector and give us all something fantastic to see. 1 minute 14 seconds left on the clock, ladies and gentlemen. So as they cross the start finish line, that will be the final push lap for all of these young drivers. Hopefully everybody manages to cross the line, but with 3 minutes on the board, it looks like they will be able to do it, and Amna Al-Kabaisi is just about to do exactly that and lead us into the final lap of qualifying as she puts the throttle down on the exit of turn 16 and floors it all the way down into turn 1. A little bit squarely on entrance there, Luca, as she comes into this fantastic sector of the track. Could you talk us through it?
Yeah, so turn 1 we do it in 4th gear with the Formula 4 car, and then turn 2 also keep 4th gear, carry the speed, and then turn 3 is flat out. That leads to this double corner, which is 4 and 5, where you basically just lift a little bit for 5, almost flat out, and then there is this tight hairpin, which you have to V-shape the corner in order to prepare the exit. Is 3rd gear, and then it goes to this section when you go down to 3rd gear again, early power, and then it's flat out turn 8, which is this kink right before 9, which is a very small lift, super quick in 5th gear, and then braking again down to 3rd for this very long corner, where it's really important the exit, because it's a long corner where you go up to 6th at the very end, and then you go almost flat out through 12, almost flat, just a little lift, and then again a small lift for 13, and then another lift here for 14. So a really fast section, and then the second last small touch on the brake on the 50-meter board, and then carry a lot of speed in 5th gear, and the last corner is in 3rd again in order to prepare the exit and for the main straight.
Thank you very
Are
much,
fire in
Luca.
purple?
Is he? No, that's his personal best second sector. That's the best overall second sector, 38.482. Fantastic showing that he did the personal best in Sector 1 as well. So as we cross the start-finish line in just a moment, we'll see Oscar Wirtz takes us on to pole position. Hamda Al-Khabaisi snatches it from his grab by 1/10 of a second. Solomon Zanfari crosses the line 0.96 of a second behind Hamda Al-Khabaisi, and Federico Al-Rafai, as Luca Felipe just predicted, crosses the line and takes us on to pole position. There's still a few cars left on track, and Sagar Al-Mashers may be the last one to cross the start-finish line. And can he change things up once again? Unfortunately not. He doesn't manage to improve with a bit of traffic in front of him. He may have been compromised, but that is a big change to the standings, ladies and gentlemen. Federico Al-Rafai is on pole with a 1:56.925. We're into the 1:56 here this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. That is absolutely fantastic. I was thinking 1:58s at the beginning of this session, but they proved me wrong. We're down into the 1:56s, and Hamda Al-Khabaisi is in second position. So that's two UAE drivers in first and second, and then Solomon Zanfari rounding out the top three before Oscar Wirtz and Andrei Petrovic. Andrei managing to hold on to top 5 position after his red flag. So I think overall at the end of the day, it's a very, very good, very lucky qualifying from him. Well, it's not fair to say it's lucky, because he did an absolutely fantastic job to put himself up into pole position before the red flag. But after that spin off, it's got to be a breath of fresh air for him that he managed to hold on to 5th position, and it's going to have a good chance in the first race to move himself up onto the podium. Just behind Andrei, we have Kirill Kutskov, who decided to stay in the pit lane during this session and save tires for the final 2 races, which I think is actually a very level-headed and intelligent decision, which may turn out to be an event-winning or even a championship-winning decision if he plays his cards right. Just behind him, we have Aurelia Nobles in 7th position with a 1:58.017 on this, her debut in Formula 4 Saudi Arabia, and really it was a fantastic debut as well. 7th position, just behind the CRK World Champion and Rotex World Championship leader. World Champion is is really something to say, huh? And just behind her, we have Sagar Al-Mashaj in the light blue number 5, driving Kuwait, and Alma Al-Duraini and Amna Al-Khabaisi round out your top 10. Just in front of the silver bullet, Faisal Al-Kubani. A really good, strong showing for Faisal. He's really, really, really making improvements. He was up on the 2nd step of the podium, I believe, in the last event. So it's really fantastic to see all of these young drivers improving, and I can't wait to see what happens in the first race in just an hour and a half time. Well, not even an hour and a half time. We're going to be starting in an hour now at midnight, because it's already 11 p.m.
Wow, think about how costly was the mistake for Andrei. You know, he was on track, so he had the opportunity, if he could, you know, to try and beat himself, because at that time he was the leader when he spin, and his fellow racers. So by, you know, losing the car and stopping, then he lost the chance to improve himself and fight for the pole position. And Al-Rifai really made an amazing lap, because he's the only one that really was able to pull a little bit of a gap to everybody. And he's the guy that also made me win a bet.
Did he?
Yeah, because we bet on the lap time, and I said we were going in the 56s, and by less than 1/10 of a second, I won the bet to the other coaches. So.
Well, whether you win by 1/10 or 100th or 1,000, it's still a victory, isn't it?
Exactly. And it was a bit of an interrupted qualifying, so maybe the lap time could have been a little bit faster in general by, you know, just having everything clean and going nicely. But I would say in terms of performance, who went for the double set of tires was, in terms of performance, the right decision. We will see how it pays off over the course of the weekend for the races.
Yes, we will. So, ladies and gentlemen, that really brings us to the end of qualifying now, and it was a fantastic showing. We had a red flag, which changed things up. We had another one, which changed things up once again. And now we get to have an interview with the pole position driver, Federico Al Rafai, sitting on pole position with a 1:56.925. And I believe in just a moment we'll be heading down to the pit lane with Marcello Puglisi, of course, another one of our driver coaches here. Marcello, an ex-F2 driver. But before that, let's have a quick run through the classifications once again. Maybe a little bit of an issue here, ladies and gentlemen, with the graphics. I'm sure we'll get them up screen in just a moment. In the meantime, Luca and I will try to entertain you before we jump down to Marcello in the pit lane to have a quick word with Federico Al Rafai. I think the issue is that the timer screen has switched on to the next session, so not a problem. We'll just jump right down into Marcello's interview in just a second.
Okay, here we are with the pole sitter of this qualification in Qatar, Federico Rafai, one more time on pole position. Well, really up to the very last moment, looked like you couldn't make it, but you made it happen really when the checkered flag was out. What did it happen on that last lap?
So I was actually close to not even going out, because after the red flag, I thought the session was finished, so I jumped out. However, I was informed later that we had 3 minutes left. So I quickly got ready, jumped back in the car, and went for one last push and just put everything together, and it was, yeah, a good lap.
So you just put everything together, or you just were gaining something else in another place that you don't want to tell us, or maybe you want to tell us?
I definitely may have found some extra speed in the last sector. So.
Okay, really good job, Federico. Congratulations.
Very much, Marcello. So now let's run through the qualifying results. In first position, in pole position, we have Federico Al Rafai with a 1:56.925. Of course, the Italian driver racing under a UAE flag, driving the white number 10 car at the top of the standings. Once again, a fantastic showing. Federico Hamda Al-Kabesi, another UAE driver, just 0.5 of a second behind Federico Al Rafai. It does look like she didn't get an optimal second red flag restart, but still a fantastic showing for Hamda. Up in second position is absolutely brilliant. Solomon Zanfari, of course, rounding out the top three in his orange number 52 car. For Morocco, an absolutely fantastic showing. This is exactly what Solomon needed to do. He needed to get his head down, get everything straight back in order, and get himself into the podium positions no matter what. And Oscar Wirtz as well, a good return to form for him. He's in P4 at the start of the first race, just 0.5 of a second behind the leader, but less than 0.004 of a second behind the third position man. Rounding out the top 10 now, ladies and gentlemen, we have Andrei Petrovic, who of course had a spin off at turn 1, but really at the end of the day it was quite lucky for him that he managed to hold on to fifth position. Kirill Kutskov in the light blue number 23 car is in sixth position ahead of Aurelia Nobles, Sagar Al-Mashurj, Omar Al-Walid Al-Durrani and Amna Al-Kabesi. P11 is Faisal Al-Kabani in the silver number 7 car. We like to call him the silver bullet here, ladies and gentlemen, because he just might surprise you and get up onto the second step of the podium as he did back in Kuwait. Laura Villas, Jabir Al-Thani and Abdulaziz Abu Zadana and Juancho Rodolfo Brebio round out the rest of the grid. A fantastic showing from everybody in this session, and I'm very excited to see what's going to happen in just under an hour's time for the first race of this event. It looks like we're going to jump down into the highlights of the qualifying now, so let's have a quick look back at all the action here from the first session of the weekend. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, with the cars coming back on track. You can see the white number 10 car of Federico Al Rafai. This would be his second safety red flag restart, I believe, and this would be his pole setting lap. An absolutely fantastic showing from him. Just behind the UAE driver is another UAE driver, Amda Al-Kabesi, in the purple number 8 car. Of course, she's managed to get up into second position, which is a brilliant showing from her as well. Just around 0.4 of a second off of the pole time, while Solomon Zanfari sits behind her in third position. position in the orange number 52 car. They really do look gorgeous, these vehicles driving around the Qatar Losail circuit, and of course Federico Alberfai as teammate. That's the white number 11 car of Oscar Wertz. Had a good showing as well. A little bit of drama for him in Kuwait, but it hasn't bothered him. He's knuckled down, he's back up into P4, and I'm sure he's got his sights set for the podium in race 1, and he'll be on the inside line, I believe, so he may be able to make a move up the inside at the first race. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of qualifying. So for me, Aaron Thompson, thank you very, very much for joining us, and I hope to see you again very soon.